So I would say 80% of our business at my shop comes from YouTube. We get cars from all over the country from people that watch my YouTube channel. And it's crazy to think about that, but it is absolutely true. We have a girl that answers a lot of our phone calls, and a lot of the notes will be like, watched YouTube video, has questions, or once build, watched YouTube video. It's funny. I mean, every day we come in, we get the same messages all day, every day. And when you call these guys, they're always like, am I really talking to Justin that's on the YouTube channel? I'm like, yeah, that's me, man. I run the shop here, and I'll talk to anyone. You're a customer. I'm going to treat you like a customer.
Welcome to the Automotive Advantage. Grow your business and get smarter in just 1 hour.
All right, here we go. This is a special one. Got a guest in our studios. Justin Keith comes to us. You're 38 years old, single. We wanted to point that out early on. Multi-millionaire. You have multi-streams of revenue from the automotive industry. You've got an incredible social media presence. You built the Car Takeover series of events. You've got killer performance. You're a shop owner. You're tuning the latest and greatest cars. And you've got a whole new event program you're about to launch.
Yep.
So welcome, everybody, to the Automotive Advantage. Justin Keith is going to tell us how you can do it, too.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Awesome. Where do we get started? Where do you come in, and when do you start becoming professionally associated with the automotive industry? Take us to where this begins for Justin Keith.
Man, it began really early in my driving career, I guess. I started being really active on the forums back in the day, whenever those were relevant. ls1tech.com. I would, work on my car in the garage and post pictures on ls1tech, and it would get tons of views on there. It seems like it was a long time ago. That was like early 2000s. And then, I was the kid. I really didn't party when I was younger. I went out street racing instead. So every weekend I was street racing in Kansas City, Friday, Saturday nights, Sunday nights, sometimes Wednesdays, kind of middle of the week. We'd go out and street race. And that's how I met a lot of people that are in the industry to this day that are relevant names. Kyle Loftus, I met him street racing in Kansas City when he would come down with Parrish in the turbo blue Silverado, and they would beat up on every single person down there. I wanted no part of racing that truck, but it was fast. And, that's how I met Kyle. And honestly, some of your other street racers that you see out there today, Ryan Mitchell, KC Max, he has a really fast, no prep car. He was out street racing with us back in the day. He's from Kansas City, and, now he's big no prep, small tire racer. And, it just kind of grew from there. Went from forums to posting street racing videos on YouTube, which ultimately led to the creation of Car Takeover. I hosted a big car show once a year in Kansas City, and that's how I met Chase, that I co-owned Car Takeover with, and that started that. And then the creation of Cletus McFarland came, kind of out of our friend group, and then we all know where he's at these days. And yeah, it's just crazy how we just all kind of bloomed kind of from the same plant. So
it's incredible to me how many people came out of the forums, right?
Yeah.
I remember being on LS1 Tech, same era, just learning about the littlest things. And then there weren't even influencers or personalities. You were just had a screen name, you had a little signature with your car info in it. But I feel like that's lost now with Facebook and all that, but what a magical place to kind of start from, right?
It was cool. Yeah, I definitely miss the message forum days. It was honestly really neat because if you needed information to do something, you could just search and it would lead you to a forum and it would have pictures and how-tos. Now the Facebook groups, it seems like it's impossible to find that information. But that message forum stuff's still out there. Like sometimes I search something that leads me to like Camaro5.com or, LS1 Tech. It's just crazy.
So you started the YouTube channel first. Like I think one of the themes as we talk through your empire is you've been very active and you've leveraged where that attention is, the forums, then you start YouTube. Talk about that transition and then as Car Takeover comes in, how does that all play together for you?
So, yeah, I mean, I started, noticing that, Facebook, back in the day when Facebook started, you had to be a student to have a Facebook account. So I was a student back then, so I had a Facebook, and then I don't know what year it was exactly, but then Facebook's like, anyone can join now. So it was weird. You started to have your parents get on Facebook and like older people get on Facebook, and you're like, man, is this going to be cool, anymore? And then Facebook started turning into, oh, this business has a Facebook page now. Oh, this company that I like has a Facebook page. And I started to see it. I started to see the move from message forums over to Facebook, and then Facebook groups started. And then it was a transition that took, looking back, it seems like it was overnight, but back then it took a while for it to transition. I used to upload videos to Street Fire, which was a very popular link for the forums, as you remember. And then one day I was like, I'm just going to upload it to YouTube. And so I uploaded a video to YouTube, just me street racing my Camaro, and it got like 30,000 views within a matter of like a day, which back then that was a lot. And I would post the videos on ls1tech.com in their little media section. And I think that's where a lot of the traffic came from, was from ls1tech.com. And, it just transitioned into meeting people. And then Car Takeover came along from doing car meets that I was posting on forums to get together. So the forums are basically what was the foundation of what started Car Takeover and everything else. YouTube, you name it. It's pretty crazy how they all started from that platform.
We talk a lot on the pod about like what platform should I be on, what's channel, the algorithm, this and that. And kind of the takeaway from the organic side of it is like you should just be on whatever platform your audience is on, right? And like for you, for me too, it was like people on LS1 Tech, that's where I'm going to be. That's what's happening now. Street Fire, shout out to those guys who used to make like compilation F-body videos to just bang your fucking music. Havoc. Bro, the best.
I still remember the music and everything from those videos.
Absolutely the best part of Street Fire back in the day, man. Those would get me so hyped up. And like, I think back, like my career is probably basically built off of some of those things, back then. But like, talk to us about kind of that. Like, you don't have to overthink these things. If your audience is somewhere, you should make content there.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. So a lot of my audience, is on Facebook, obviously YouTube, and I concentrate on those areas. And you got to keep up with your algorithms. You got to try to post relevant stuff daily to keep things going. It's work. If you want it to work, you got to put in the effort to make it work. And sometimes you can get lazy. Sometimes you can just be like, I'm just going to take a break for a few days. And then you go to post something and it's just down. And it's just really tough to keep up with that stuff. But I would say it's like almost like a drug. Like you start posting stuff, it starts getting a lot of traction, and you just keep wanting to build off that. And to me, that's the biggest motivation, is seeing your stuff just explode online, with whether it be a post about a truck or something like that. That motivates me. I don't know about anyone else, but if I see something doing good, I just want to keep doing it and just keep growing it. Because it's as big as you want it to be.
I want to talk a lot about Car Takeover and what you built there, but we talk about how do you monetize a big crowd. You had the events company, and then you launch your own speed shop, plus you've got a revenue stream from your social channels. Can you coach another shop owner on how big social is to you and how to monetize that? And your customers are coming to you. This is going to be a real basic question.
Right.
You are getting customers from your social activities. Just reinforce that for folks that haven't made that jump yet.
So I would say 80% of our business at my shop comes from YouTube. We get cars from all over the country from people that watch my YouTube channel. And it's crazy to think about that, but it is absolutely true. We have a girl that answers a lot of our phone calls, and a lot of the notes will be like, watched YouTube video, has questions, or once build, watched YouTube video. It's funny. I mean, every day we come in, we get the same messages all day, every day. And when you call these guys, they're always like, am I really talking to Justin that's on the YouTube channel? I'm like, yeah, that's me, man. I run the shop here, and I'll talk to anyone. You're a customer. I'm going to treat you like a customer. And we treat everyone the same. That we get builds come in. I have customers come pick up their cars that want picture with me while they're picking. It's like, that's awesome. Like, it's cool. You came all the way from North Carolina to get your car built by us, all because you watch our YouTube channel. And we put out a great product at the shop. We take a lot of pride in what we do. We're not throwing together cars just based off fame from the channel and whatnot. We are actually building in my opinion, some of the nicest cars in the country, late model cars. And we started doing these 90s truck builds, all started on YouTube. I did a truck I wanted to do. I didn't have anything else in mind other than I want to build this for myself because it's cool. And honestly, I got a little inspiration from Gas Monkey Garage. They built an OBS, and I didn't realize there's that many aftermarket parts for them when I watched that video. And I probably watched that build video that they posted, I don't know, back in 2019, probably 10 times. And one night I'm laying in bed and I just started ordering parts for a truck I didn't even own. And I found a truck and started building it, did the whole build series on YouTube, and I mean, it exploded. We had guys from all over the country wanting to build the same truck. So we've built 10 of them so far since 2020 for customers.
What do they sell for? Give the folks an idea of what you're talking about.
The average build on one of them 90s trucks that we do is about $115,000 plus the truck. So they range from, you could have 150 grand in one by the time it's all said and done. And we've done several of them. We've actually sold several of them for $130,000, $140,000 a piece on secondhand market. So
what's the scale of killer performance? Like, give us a metric of, can you tell us sales for a good month, or how many lifts, or how many guys? How big of a shop?
So our shop, it's 8,500 square foot. We're in our third building since we started in 2020. We have 4 techs, 1 receptionist, and then Curtis and I are the owners of the shop. Curtis handles all the Ford stuff, and he's really good at it. I handle all the GM, and then we kind of split the Dodge stuff. And then anything else in between, we started tinkering with BMWs here lately, newer BMWs. We kind of go with where the market's going. So while we do domestic only, we've started to see an uptick in BMW performance, and they're really cool. So we're building a BMW right now at the shop that's probably going to make like 1,300 horsepower, and it's got 500 miles on it. It's a brand new car. So that's going to be cool. But I would say a good sales month at the shop, I mean, we probably do $500,000 to $600,000 in just gross sales, which is pretty good for a small shop in eastern Kansas City, Missouri. So
what limits the shop? You and I were talking about this earlier. Talk about the challenges you have as just a shop owner, technical skill and et cetera. What keeps you from being a $5 million a month shop?
I think the one thing the obvious thing is I have other businesses that take away my time from the shop. Curtis, my business partner, he also owns another business as well. So we started the shop as kind of one of those deals of, hey, it's cool. We can have, our own cars worked on, our own shop. Quality control is all up to us. Well, that quickly turned into months of backlog us not being able to get our own stuff worked on anymore because the shop's so busy. And yeah, it's crazy to see, you know, something that we basically started because we actually just wanted to do it. We had a passion for it, turn into an actual money-making business that does very well. I'd say the biggest struggle that we've had along the way is probably keeping techs, you know, I wouldn't say keeping techs, but finding the right techs and keeping them around and keeping them happy, because, you know, there's always the grass is greener on the other side that goes through these techs' minds. And so we try to keep them happy, keep them at the shop. You know, we have an air-conditioned, heated shop, which I don't know if anyone's worked in a shop before, but that's awesome in the Midwest. We also pay them very well. We do stuff for them, you know, randomly, monthly, give them bonuses, you know, go out to dinner, go karts or stuff like that. My biggest advice for anyone that's wanting to start a shop or do anything is keep your employees happy. You know, if you keep your employees happy, everything else is smooth sailing. So that's my thoughts.
I mean, for the listener at home, right, very quick math here. We're doing something like $500,000 a month, $600,000 a month. You're effectively using YouTube and Facebook organically to do that type of revenue, right? So we hear from a lot of people like, man, I just don't have time to spend on my YouTube channel. I just don't have time to be posting on Facebook. It's like, well, you're effectively missing out on something like $500,000 a month from this organic push. So like, just drive that home for people. Where else are you spending money? And like, how are you generating this type of business basically organically, right?
Yeah, we have spent this amount of money in the last 6 years on advertising. Zero. The only thing that we have spent is our own time on advertising, whether that be, you know, using Instagram, doing reels. Honestly, our biggest thing, believe it or not, is idle videos. Just a car sitting there idling. Our most viewed video on social media is an Escalade V with a cam in it. It's got 4.8 million views on Instagram. So I probably sold 4 Escalade V builds off that one video. That took 15 seconds to record out in the parking lot because I'm like, wow, that sounds cool. I just started recording, posted it up, immediately blew up. So I would say, you know, it's not all about spending money on advertising. It's having a true passion for showing what you do to the world, because we have all these tools right at our fingertips. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, all that stuff. People are on there all the time. So
yeah, and you're on there all the time. Like the shop, the person who's like, I don't want to put stuff on social because it's like you're on social right now watching your idle clip video. It's like, just go make your own, man. That's like our plea to everybody. It's like, I don't have time for this, blah, blah. It's like, you have to make time for this stuff, right? And I'm sure there's parts, you own multiple businesses. I'm sure there are days where you're like, I don't have time for this. But you do it anyway, right?
Yes. And it's very hard to get in that rhythm of, oh, shoot, I need to be recording this, or, oh, shoot, I need to take a picture of this so I can post it up. It's definitely not something that I did overnight. It's something that you just kind of have to get used to doing, especially like with the video stuff. Like we all like enjoying a cool moment. But it's very hard to enjoy the cool moment and also remember to video it as well. And that was my biggest struggle several years ago, was just being like, man, I look stupid holding a phone, recording myself all the time. But you just gotta get past that and be like, I'm just gonna video myself, or I'm gonna video this situation. If someone next to me thinks I'm stupid, well, that person isn't selling 5 jobs off one video. So you just gotta have that mindset of, anything you do and everything you do can be monetized from doing something so small that you do every day. People watch that stuff.
I think Alex Hormozy said this, I'm going to butcher his quote, but he effectively said, until you're a billionaire, you shouldn't have shame.
Yeah.
Like, if you're like, I look like a loser making this video, it's like, well, do you need money? You do? Okay, well then pull your phone out and go make that video, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's cool too, because there's a lot of times where I'm like, I want to enjoy the moment of whatever's happening, like whether that be hanging out, down in Florida with Cletus and all them, or doing something. But, if you remember the video, you could always have it for the rest of your life. You have that moment on video, or you can go back to YouTube and be like, man, I remember when I was at Roadkill Nights racing, I can go back and watch everything. It's cool to have that stuff, not only, to build your business, but to just relive the memories.
Car guys are, especially shop owners, are super jaded too, right? And I go to a lot of shops where people are like, yeah, we don't really have anything cool going on. And you're like, what's that? I'm like, well, it's a twin turbo 4 GT. It only makes like 1,200. It's like, that's cool. You could talk about that, right? So like, how do you stay unjaded and just still realize that even a camshaft in a V is sick?
It's tough. I will say it is tough. There's people that walk in the shop all the time and they're like, this is freaking heaven in here. And me and Kurtz look at each other and we're like, I guess it is pretty cool sitting over there. Like you get used to it. You do get numb to it, but you always have to remember, like the other day we did a 6th-gen Camaro that had a pretty rowdy cam in it and stuff. And we do so many of them. And it's like the thing backed out of the garage and I was walking in from getting lunch. I'm like, damn, that thing sounds good. So I pulled out my phone really quick and hurried up and got on video and posted it up. And it's just cool. Like I had one guy who's like, man, that freaking cam sounds awesome. How much is it to do one? And, it's just little stuff like that just goes a long ways, but you do get numb to it. You just have to remember that not everyone sees that stuff every day.
So you've transitioned into the personality side of this, right? So you're bringing us along with you on your channels. And one of the things we were talking about is you've recently taken up boating.
Yeah.
And this has become unbelievable content for your channel. Walk us through, like, where did this come from, the deals you're getting, and where is this going to head for you?
So the boating stuff has been a passion of mine forever. I used to go to the Lake of the Ozarks every summer, a couple times a year. And I would just be the kid at the dock that's just drooling over boats. Like, they're freaking cool. They're loud. They got big V8s in them. When's the last time you seen a guy at a car show with 4 girls in bikinis in the car? I mean, you can have that in a boat. So, and it's acceptable. But I finally was able to purchase my first boat of several years ago. I got a cigarette Top Gun, which is a very iconic, just V-bottom speedboat. It wasn't anything too crazy fast, but it was reliable, sounded cool, looked cool, had a cool paint job on there. And I made a video of going to pick up that boat. And I posted on YouTube and I'm like, hey guys, I know it's not a car, but we're gonna have something a little different today. And it's a boat. And that video got hundreds of thousands of views. And I obviously had the salesman in the video who's also a big car guy. And he called me back like several weeks later and he's like, man, everyone knows me now because of your YouTube video. And he's like, I've actually sold a couple boats off that video. And I'm like, really? He goes, yeah. He goes, let's do more of that. So that turned into him giving me a ride on a new Fountain Thundercat, which is a catamaran boat with outboard engines in it. And they're $500,000-$600,000 boats, brand new. We did just like a ride along video on that thing, and it got another couple 100,000 views on that video, and that translated into sales for Big Thunder Marine in Lake of the Ozarks. So I kept doing boat videos. Last year I bought a different boat, started doing videos on it. All my boat videos have really good views on them. And that turned into me developing a relationship with Big Thunder Marine, which is one of the biggest powerboat dealerships in the country. And they're based out of the Ozarks. I'm in a partnership with them now. I run a 2023 Fountain Thundercat boat and film content with it. And recently I started filming other people's boats. I go on the boat ride with them, basically do like a boat review, like a Doug DeMuro boat review. And people are eating it up. They love it. There's nothing like it, in my opinion, on YouTube. And I see an opportunity there. So whenever I see an opportunity, I kick the can down the road and I keep kicking it. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm focused on doing automotive and boat content. And honestly, it all fits together really well. If you're a car guy, you like boats. If you're a boat guy, you like cars typically. So yeah, that's been my boat experiences. And then also on the flip side of this is you get to go to so many cool places and do so many cool things with the boat groups. Like next weekend, I'm going to an event called Texahoma Throwdown. It's a big boat poker run. It's actually a racer that races in some of our SET events that puts the whole event on. He actually hit me up a couple weeks ago and said, "Hey, have you heard of this?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I've heard of it." He's like, "Come down." He goes, "You're going to stay with me the whole time we're there." He goes, "I'm going to get you on every bad boat I can find." And he's like, "I just want you to come down and video it and have a good time." And I'm like, put me on a bunch of awesome boats for a weekend. Yeah, sign me up. I'm there. So it's cool because I get to have fun doing it. And then I get to show everybody else, and everyone else loves to watch the videos because not your average guy. Like, yeah, it's one thing to like get a ride in a new Corvette, but it's another thing to get a ride in a $1.5 million speedboat. That doesn't happen that often. I'm not going to lie to you guys. The very first time I was in a fast boat was when I bought my cigarette boat in 2023. I had never driven a boat in my life until I bought that boat because I've never had that opportunity before. I didn't have family with a boat. I didn't have friends with boats. Like, I had to go buy my own in order to get that experience. So, and it's kind of like the good boys club. Like, once you get a boat, everyone wants you to hang out with them, and everyone wants to let you on their cool boat. I'm like, dang, so I had to buy a boat to be able to ride on these cool boats, but that's the way it is. It's pretty crazy.
That is 100% the way it is. Planes are the same way. Helicopters, they're all, once you're in, and it's like, oh, you want to take mine for a spin? It's like, yeah. But yeah, if you're out, you're out. But it is funny though, because I think we've been in the auto circle for so long that you say things like, well, everyone rides in new Corvettes. It's like, but no, right? Yeah. For a lot of people, they're never going to ride in a C806. Yeah. For us, it's just like another day,
That's
but
true, yeah.
For most of the world, that's the same, that and a $2 million race boat, same experience of just like, oh my God, I can't believe I just got to do that. So I think just, again, driving home that like what we do is on the fringe and we take it for granted, just like a dude who works at a helicopter store takes flying around in helicopters for granted, right? Yeah.
Or Ed that works at a boat dealership that gets to drive boats around all day. I mean, it's cool. Like, it's something that you just, you can't fathom until it actually happens. And, you just got to keep digging.
So recap YouTube for me a little bit. Like, when did you realize you could make money being a YouTube personality? And then you get some great advice from people. Do you want to share like what wins for you when you're making content?
Yeah. So, I have some very good friends that are really big into YouTube. One of them being Garrett Cletus. Everyone knows him as Cletus McFarland. I've known Garrett since before he was Cletus. And it was crazy because back in like 2017, in some of the very early Cletus McFarland videos, I was there for a lot of them, if not in them. And Garrett, to me at the time, was a way younger guy who was just having fun in college. He worked for Car Takeover with us for a little bit, so I got to know him then. He loved C7 Corvettes. I had a C7 Corvette at the time, and he was always just wanting to hang out with me because he could ride in the C7 Corvette, and then he got his own. So then we always joked around, we're like, yeah, we're C7 brothers, and the whole Cletus thing blew up, and I'm like looking at him, watching him do all this stuff, and I'm like, man, me and Garrett are almost the same person. Like, he's making all this money, and I do the same crap. So, I was busy with Car Takeover, and I didn't really have a lot of time to focus on the YouTube stuff. But as years went on, he pushed me. He's like, man, you should just start making vlog videos, because my YouTube channel started back in like 2010, like basically when YouTube started with the street racing videos. I quit doing that when we started Car Takeover. So there was about a period of 4 years where I never posted a video at all on YouTube. But I always think back and think if I would have kept on going with the YouTube and not had started Car Takeover, which I'm not saying I regret that at all, but I would have loved to have seen what my YouTube channel would have done had I not stopped posting, because I was getting 30 to 40,000 views of video back in 2010 and 2011 when there was no one on YouTube. So I'm looking back and it's like, man, could YouTube have possibly have been a way bigger income money stream for me than Car Takeover? But you never know. Stuff you just never know. But I did start making YouTube videos, more vlog style, lifestyle videos back in 2018. And then I would post a video maybe once or twice a month, nothing crazy. And then I started posting more. And then here recently, I started posting quite a bit, and I've seen a huge increase in views, reach, everything. It's went up 475% in the last month that I've actually focused on it. And I'm gonna keep my foot on the gas pedal this time.
What can you make as a YouTube content creator? Can you share what somebody gets paid off of YouTube?
I mean, it all depends on how many videos you post, how many ads are on the videos, how long the videos are, how good the videos are. It could range. I mean, you can make $500 a month. You can make $5 million a month. I mean, the sky's the limit with YouTube. I know there's, some guys out there that make a very healthy living off YouTube. For me, it's decent. I mean, just in the last month, I mean, you can probably bank on around $10,000 a month, and that's just me doing, a couple videos a week that get decent views, and I have 120,000 subscribers. It's not a huge YouTube channel by any means, but it's big. And I think once you get traction with YouTube, once you get on that algorithm and people start watching your videos, you can just see it. It just keeps going up. And if you keep your foot on the gas, it will keep going up. Keep creating content, keep creating videos that you see that are getting the views. Just keep hammering on those same subjects, and you'll definitely see a huge increase.
What's the old saying? The best time to plant a tree was 30 years ago. The second best time is today, right? It seems like we see that a lot with YouTube. It's like, man, I wish I would have started in 2010. It's like, great, well, you didn't. So now we're going to start today. And you've basically, been wide open for a short period of time relative to someone like Cletus. But do you still think there's opportunity for a guy who watches this and is like, I'm going to start one today?
There absolutely is. It's just you got to be very original. I watch channels all the time, and there's a channel that comes into mind, and just, I don't know, 8 months ago, he had 200,000 subscribers, and just last week he posted I was at 1 million. So that was just in 8 months, the last 8 months, that he grew 700,000 subscribers. Look at, like Whistling Diesel, that channel was started in like 2019, 2018. He's got 6 million, 7 million subscribers right now. I see it all the time. If a guy has good content, good personality, puts out good videos, you can absolutely grow a channel starting now. It's tough. You got to really be dedicated to it, and you got to be willing to put a lot of work into it with no reward for a while. And that's where a lot of people fail at. They just give up.
Yeah, we use the analogy of like, if you want to become Mr. Olympia, right? It's like becoming Mr. Olympia isn't really that hard. It's just you have to be very consistent for a very long period of time. And a lot of people are like, oh, I want to be Cletus, but I don't want to do what Cletus did. It's like, well, then you're not going to be Cletus. And by the way, he's still competing. So now you have to do everything he did and more to try to catch up to him.
And it's really hard to catch up with, guys like that, because, I mean, not only do they have the content and the following now, well, now they have all that money to do the craziest things that anything that comes in their head, they can pretty much produce if they really want to. And that's the cool thing about YouTube is you put the work in, you start reaping the benefits. You have to keep reinvesting into making fresh new content all the time. And that's a tough thing to do, especially if you're not making a lot of money at it. So
I'm going to jump into the events empire, and I want to learn about the streetcar takeover build up and what it ultimately is today. You know, you guys had a fresh look at motorsports events. You brought in some different racing structure and rule sets. You seem to draw really affluent, very cutting edge, big horsepower streetcars that other sanctioning bodies weren't doing.
Yeah.
How did you do this? Where did it start? And we're going to talk about you and your future, but take us through Streetcar Takeover and how you built this thing.
Yeah, so Streetcar Takeover started with just Chase and I. You know, we were both car enthusiasts, I would say. You know, I was a street racer. Chase was, up in Omaha with 1320 videos. So he was in some very big videos. I think one of his videos is probably the most viewed video on 1320's YouTube channel ever. And that all kind of ignited a flame that was Streetcar Takeover. It started as a car show in a parking lot, and then it turned into, man, we need to go racing. We can't race on the street. We can't film that. So let's go to a drag strip, and that way we can film the races and promote the races and do all that stuff. So, you know, our first event was Topeka, Kansas, which that track is no longer open or even there anymore. And then, you know, Kyle with 1320 video, he was, you know, our buddy, our friend, and he was helping promote it on 1320 social medias, YouTube videos and all that stuff. And that helped ignite it big time. And then, you know, 2014 came around, we're like, let's go to different cities. Like, that'd be great. We wanted to basically like have a TX2K type event, but we wanted to just go all over the country with it because, you know, TX2K, as you all know, it's just in one spot, one time a year, and that's it. So that's when Streetcar Takeover went nationwide. We did 4 events in 2014, and then I believe we did 8 or 9 events in 2015. And at the peak, we were doing 22 events this season. We pulled this, I would say, kind of unique crowd of racers together. We had anywhere from no prep street racers to your seasoned drag racers that raced NMCA, NMRA, all those events. And then we also had your young kids that have never been to a drag strip ever in their life. And then we had your guys that had a lot of money that wanted to run their exotics down the track. We pulled all of them in one event. And I think we did it because we were those guys. Chase and I were the guys in the parking lot at 10 o'clock at night wanting to go out on the highway and roll race. We were the guys in the parking lot wanting to go out and dig race. That was us. That's how people related to Streetcar Takeover. It was something that someone could be like, oh yeah, I seen Justin out racing, or I've seen his videos out racing. I want to go race at his event because he's one of us. And I think that's ultimately what really ignited Streetcar Takeover and built it to what it is today, is basically just an event full of enthusiasts that are like-minded people. You know, we don't get the crazy bracket, big tire dial-in cars that go to the drag strip on, you know, bracket nights. We get the Corvette with the cam and heads and a set of drag radials on it. We get the Lamborghinis that make 1,800 horsepower. That's the kind of cars that they pull. And, you know, it's one of those markets where it's a weird time because there's so many other events going on. So many other people are trying to do the same thing. You have to find a way to be different. And to me, that's, I think, the biggest, most important thing right now is trying to find a way to be unique and separate yourself from the rest.
At your peak, you were racing multiple cars.
Yeah.
You're shooting videos during the week about getting ready for the race.
Yeah.
And then you're hauling ass through multiple states to go race your event. You must have been burning the candle at both ends, or whatever the analogy. I mean, you must have been grinding pretty hard. What was life like when you're doing all that?
Life was difficult. I would, especially when we started the shop, I'd be at the shop Monday through Thursday. Thursday was load the car in the trailer, get the suitcases, put the water in the water tank for my living quarters, go to the grocery store, and hit the road. And then, some nights we'd have to be at a night meet Thursday night at a Twin Peaks or a shop. I'd basically roll in, we'd throw the tent up, set the merch up, and then we'd hang out the night meet. And then the next day we're at the track getting stuff set up, gate open, and racing all weekend. Sunday, travel day home, and then Monday you get up and start the whole week over again. And it was crazy because sometimes we'd do events back to back on each weekend. So there'd be a period of 2 weeks where you don't even know what day it is sometimes, because you're just constantly just rolling. And it's fun, but at the same time, like, you miss out on a lot of stuff at home. You miss out on birthdays and family stuff. And, luckily I have a family that's pretty understanding with that. But, it's just like anything. There's a lot of things you have to give up to be successful and to, try to make something big. That's basically what I can touch on that. So
Did you guys, when you started it, was the focus on the internet or the event or the community or the content? Like, what was it to start, and then did it transition at any point where you were like, oh, this is a brand now that makes content around events versus this is an event that, has an online community?
So the content side of it was mainly 1320 video. We had nothing to do with the content. They wanted an event that they could go to and film legal racing. We provided that for them. In return, they would make the videos, people would watch the videos, and we would get the traffic from it. So 1320 video, they loved it because they got to go out and didn't have to spend a dime other than getting their people there and their time, film the event, and then they go upload on YouTube, monetize that. We loved it because we had 1320 video basically making a video of each of our events when we first started. So it was great because we got the reach from 1320 video, and 1320 video got our events to film. And then that turned into, we were basically our own animal at that point. So 1320 video, obviously you can only film so many street car takeovers before you see the same cars and everything else. They've started branching off. There's more events starting. That was during the time Street Outlaws was basically getting popular. So there's no prep races on every street corner in the Midwest for a while, every weekend. So you'd film that, and then we kind of just kept doing our thing. We kept growing. We kept going to bigger tracks. We kept adding classes, payouts, more organized on the schedule, just basically polishing what Street Car Takeover started as. That's basically the gist. We didn't really use YouTube. That was 1320, but like Facebook, we were big on social media. So Facebook, Instagram, those were very important for us to promote our events. That's the only way we promote it. We didn't even spend $1 of advertising money until probably 2018 or 2019. We did not spend $1 for Facebook advertising. And that was all just organic for the first 5 years. And then 2018, 2019, I was like, hey, Chase, let's start putting some money towards some ads, see what happens. And it worked. It worked. And then just like anything on Facebook, once you start giving them money, then they want money for everything. And it was part of growing, part of knowing stuff. But looking back on it, spending the money on Facebook and Instagram was smart, but sometimes I wonder, it's like, man, I wonder if we would have just maybe put more effort, maybe use that money for other things, maybe hire 2 social media people or something, if that would have done the same thing. You just never know. But our biggest year of Street Car Takeover ever was in 2021, because that's when COVID was over. Everyone was itching to get out. There was really no concerts or anything going on yet. So the only thing people could do was go to races. And yeah, we had a huge year in 2021.
What's the top line number of the best year? What's 21 look like on the books?
A lot. It was good.
Over $10 million.
No, not over 10 million. But it was the same, around the same amount of digits. It was good. It was a good year. Yep.
I want to stay on the kind of content versus event thing for a minute, because I think a lot of our listeners maybe own tracks or own sanctioning bodies or something like that. And there's always been this like, we're the track or we're the sanctioning body and we don't want to partner with media unless blah, blah, blah. And it always seems like there are people who don't get this perfectly. And then there are examples of people who do. Like you guys, I think Holly early on when LS Fest came, they were like, man, get as much media here as possible. They're going to benefit. We're going to benefit. The whole thing works together. So like, do you see that in sanctioning bodies and in other tracks where you're like, man, just partner with people?
Yeah, I love partnerships. I love partnering up with media, with companies, with anything that can do, because all it does is help you out and it doesn't cost you anything. That's the main thing people need to realize is like, yeah, like you're partnering with someone. Yeah, they might be monetizing what you're doing, but you're not paying anything for it. If anything, it's going to help you out. It's going to broaden your audience. And some people are just too stubborn to do that kind of stuff. But me personally at Street Car Takeover, whenever I was there, I love doing that stuff. Like, sure, come in for free, bring whoever you want for free. Just spread it out. Just spread the word. And we would do that with companies. We would do that with YouTubers, media, all that stuff. And I mean, yeah, if you can basically get a bigger audience and not spend anything doing it, that's always a win, in my opinion.
Yeah, and this goes for the shops too, I think, right? If you have a shop and you're not going to be making your own YouTube content, there's probably someone in your town who's like, fuck, if I had access to that shop, I could make a YouTube channel. And it's like, great, that's a perfect partnership.
Yeah.
Go find that kid, get him in your shop. They're going to talk about your shop. You're both going to grow from that, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, we've had some people stop by the shop and wanting to get video and stuff. I'm just like, yeah, go right ahead. Don't cost me any money. Just trying to bug my techs while they're working. That's all I ask for.
So Street Car Takeover is in an interesting place. You know, I want to talk about your new project, but first we've got to take care of the business of where are you with Street Car Takeover right now, and you wanted to describe what's going on. It's a big transition for you.
Yeah, so back in June, I decided to part ways with Street Car Takeover. It was a tough decision. There was changes happening and stuff, and I just felt like I would be better off kind of starting my own thing. You know, Chase and I, we lived in different cities. You know, Chase has a family, has 3 kids. I'm single. I have no kids. And I feel like my effort was better spent on myself and doing something that I could just make all the decisions myself, do what I wanted myself, and not have to answer to anyone or have anyone involved other than myself. All my effort that I put in is completely mine. And to me, it was very important to me at the time. And it was a tough decision. You know, I spent basically a quarter of my life making Street Car Takeover into what it is. And, you know, obviously Chase was there along the way to help me, but, you know, I had to just basically walk away. And Street Car Takeover is continuing with Chase and a couple new business partners he has, and they're going to continue doing events all over the country. That's not going to change. The only thing that's going to change is I'm just not going to be there with it. So, and it's tough to see, you know, on Facebook, you know, you see, you know, Street Car Takeover posts and you're like, you're so used to just having that as, I mean, I have it tattooed on my arm, and you're just so used to being involved, and it's like, I have nothing to do with that anymore. And it's weird. It's really weird, but I just have to keep focusing on the future and what I want to do. And my new company I started, RPM Revival, and we have an event happening in October, which is just less than 100 days away. And it's a completely new concept of something that I had in my head for years, and I wanted to do it for years, but it didn't really fit what Car Takeover product was. I felt like it would have been too big of a change. It would have, people, you change something and they're like, I miss the old way, even though deep down inside, they're like, man, that's a really good idea. So I just figured this was the easiest way for me to get to that path and get to that path quick. I did this deal to where I have no non-compete. I could literally just start my company the next day. And the bad part about that is I didn't really get anything for the Car Takeover end of things, but I had to sit here and take a huge risk of choosing to not have a non-compete versus, money. And I chose the non-compete or the non-compete way. That way I can start something, and I have so much confidence that it's going to be that big that I chose that path. So, and it's also a big motivator on making sure my new venture goes very well. Yeah.
It's a big step. I mean,
It's a scary step.
Yeah. It's funny how, if you look back, probably all the decisions you've made are terrifying. But when you look at them in hindsight, you're like, oh, no, that made sense. Then I came off of LS1 Tech and we blah, blah, blah. And it's like, but in the moment, it probably felt just as scary too, right? But we got up on the board risk versus reward. So like, you already know there's risk, but you also know there's reward, right?
Absolutely. I always have to think back to when I started Car Takeover and I quit my job at the Chevy dealership I worked at for 10 years. I was a service writer. I was one of the top service writers in the whole dealer group. I made 6 figures a year, which back in that day was a lot of money. Still is a lot of money. It's just not as much as it was 12, 13 years ago. But I think back to that day when I walked into my boss's office and was like, I think I'm just going to put in my 2 weeks. And he just kind of looked at me like, okay. He's like, is the racing thing really going that well? I'm like, not really, but I feel like if I put most of my time into doing that instead of sitting here for 10 hours a day, that it could be that much better. And he was just like, all right, yeah, I respect that. He goes, well, if you ever, want to come back, your seat's always open. So I didn't, burn any bridges if it didn't work out. And then I called my mom. And I was like, hey, Mom, I quit my job or put in my 2 weeks a day. You did what? And she thought I was out of my mind. And, it all worked out. It worked out great. I never looked back, honestly. And I got to sit here and think the same thing's going to happen this time. So sometimes you got to take a risk.
So that's all. I mean, frame up your vision. What are the elements? You're bringing in some music. You're bringing in more lifestyle. Like, take us through the vision of where you're going now.
So the company name is RPM Revival, and if you don't know the definition of revival is, just look it up, and it's got a meaning to it. And what I feel like the RPM Revival can be is it can be anything boat related, anything with an engine. And that's what I want. With Car Takeover, I was limited to Car Takeover. So that's an umbrella. Our first event that I had in mind is just kind of like, it started as like a Kansas City thing. It's going to be in Kansas City, and it's Boost and barbecue. You have cars and coffee. Now we have Boost and barbecue. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't like waking up at 5:30 in the morning on a Saturday to go sit in a parking lot with a bunch of guys in Corvettes wearing New Balances to hang out. I want to go to a racetrack and do a burnout, race my car, and eat a hot dog and some barbecue, listen to a concert, maybe go through a car show that's not at the crack of dawn, that I'm not waiting 3 hours in line to get into. So that's where the Boost and barbecue thing came from. And Kansas City, we're known for barbecue. So I was like, yeah, we'll have a barbecue cook-off. And then Curtis, the guy that owns the shop with me, is like, well, I mean, are we going to have like judging, or we don't know anything about barbecue? And I'm like, we don't know anything about barbecue, but I can tell you what barbecue is good and what barbecue is not good. And Kurt's like, that ain't gonna work, Justin. So we contacted Kansas City Barbecue Society. They're a huge barbecue outfit that does competitions for points, like American Roll, the largest barbecue competition in the world. Kansas City Barbecue Society is involved with that. This is going to be an actual points barbecue cook-off for the national point system for barbecue competitions. We're putting up $10,000 in rewards and payouts for the barbecue competitors. $10,000 just for them. So we already got some of the best barbecue competition teams in the country coming to Flying H Dragway for a drag race. So we got that going on. So we're all in on the barbecue cook-off. It's no joke. It's the real deal. It's good for points. And then I was like, we should do a concert. And I was like, you know, we could have a couple local bands come in and play some music. It'd be pretty cool. But why not get someone that's known throughout the whole world? So I contacted an agent, and he's like, here's a list of everyone we want. And I was like, you know what? That list is cool, but I want someone bigger. So he sends me another list, and I was like, yeah, that guy, that's who I want. And then he's like, well, he's this much money. I'm like, well, are they negotiable? And so he's like, yeah, they might be. So he called them. They negotiated down to a price that I could live with. And now we have, you know, a freaking big country artist coming called Chris Jansen, which has some of the biggest country songs ever. And he's coming to play the concert. And so we got that aspect out of the way. And then I was like, I want to do a burnout contest, but I want to do it big. I want to do it good. So we came up with this name called the Burnout Garden. You have the beer garden at festivals, you know, where you go in, it's a separate area. You can go in there and party and drink. Well, at Boost'n Barbecue, we have the Burnout Garden. It's basically its own little area. We do burnouts, have a good time. It's its own separate party. And it's going to be set up, be about 100 by 100 burnout pit. So it's going to be huge. And then we're doing the car show. And then we have the drag racing. And we have the largest DCT all-wheel drive payout in the history of drag racing. It's 25 grand just for that one class. And we figure, well, we'll make the rest of the payouts big too. So we're probably going to have like close to $75,000 in payouts for a 2-day race. That's called Boost'n Barbecue. Plus a concert, plus car show, burnout contest. I mean, it's literally got all the boxes checked. And it's our first event. It's to the point, like, we have some of the, like, barbecue people, like, are you guys serious? Like, you guys have 1,000 followers on Facebook. We're like, yeah, we know. But there'll be 15,000 people there. You watch. And I think now they're kind of starting to see the light. They're like, man, these guys really do know what they're doing. So it's cool. And then I've already been contacted by other tracks around the country wanting to Boost'n Barbecue at their tracks because they think it's just a home run of an idea. So it's pretty neat.
I think he's going to be okay. That's my first takeaway.
I mean, I love it. As a card-carrying, New Balance-wearing Corvette owner, I also hate waking up early in the morning and going to Cars and Coffee, and it's just a super boring thing. And I get why they're popular, but like, you know.
They're cool. I love the Cars and Coffees. I went last year to a couple of them. A couple of my friends put them on in Kansas City, and I mean, it's amazing how many people show up. And it's cool to see all the different cars, and it's free. You can go in and go out, and you can go eat breakfast somewhere on a Saturday morning, which typically I wouldn't be up to do. So it's cool. It gets me out of the house.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I also just want them to be at night with barbecue and beer. So I'm loving where this is going. Yeah. We got a lot to talk about here with how hard it is to start a new event, how hard it is to not just immediately get boxed into like, well, we can't do that because every other event is done this way. There's no way you could bring barbecue in. There's no way you could do that. So like, where do you want to start here?
I want to tap into your years of experience about how do you know, I believe you, this is going to be amazing and seeing the passion as you describe this and how the elements come together. But how do you know? Like, what is your measurement? Is it your feel? Is it feedback from your community? Like, how do you know this thing's going to work?
So there was a big problem, and it's a big problem in drag racing as a whole, and it's kind of like the elephant in the room. The time it takes to clean up oil downs and track prep absolutely kills a crowd. So I really saw it at our Kansas City Street Car Takeover event just this last May. We had a packed house, but it was kind of cool because I had a lot of people there that I'm friends with and their family and stuff that typically wouldn't go to a drag race. And Saturday night, we were trying to get done. We had a lot of cars breaking and a lot of track prep going on. And I noticed the crowd, it was packed, and then it just started slowly dwindling down. And finally, my mom texts me. She goes, "When are you guys going to start running again?" And I'm like, "I don't know. It should be any time." Well, she was waiting on one of our friends to run a pass down the track. And they were in the staging lanes, like ready to go, but there was a class they had to run in front. Well, another car broke. And my mom's like, "When do you think they're going to run now?" And I'm like, "Mom, I don't know." And she's like, "Well, we've been up here for an hour and a half." She's like, "I think we're just going to go. Like, we're just ready to go." And I was like, "Yeah, that's understandable." And that really bothered me. And then when I got back, I talked to some other people that I know, and they're like, "Yeah, we just didn't see a lot of racing because there always seemed like they were working on the track. The tractor was always on the track." And I'm like, "I got to fix this. I got to figure out something to do here." So I'm like, we need to make entertainment while that stuff's going on. We need to keep people entertained. So one of the things that we thought of was, maybe hire in like a motocross like stunt show and have it on the other side of the track. That way, when we get an oil down or getting ready, they can go out there and do some stunts, keep people entertained. That's one of the things I thought of. That was a great idea. Still might do it. That's where the barbecue thing comes in hand. It's going to be right behind the grandstands. So if we do get that point, go check out the barbecue. You literally walk through it. If you've never been to a barbecue cook-off, they're awesome because you can walk through and get samples of barbecue from some of the best cooks in the country. So that was one thing to keep them entertained. And then another thing that we're going to do is Flying H it's one of the only tracks with like a huge LED screen around the other side of the track. We're going to have people going around interviewing racers and stuff like live. So kind of like when you're at a baseball game or a football game, in between innings, they're doing kiss cam. Kiss cam's a hot subject right now. They're doing, they do the hot dog races. They do all that stuff. Well, we're going to implement that same entertainment into drag racing. And that was one of the main things I see with drag racing is the entertainment to keep people there. Because guess what? That person that was at Kansas City Street Car Takeover in May that left because they didn't see a car run in 2 hours, they probably won't come back. And it's not just our race, it's every race. I mean, there's so many races that I go to, and I'm like sitting in my trailer or something. I'm like, man, I haven't heard a car go down the track in an hour and a half. And it's because, a car broke or a car wrecked or they're doing radial prep, which takes forever. So that's my biggest thing with drag racing right now is to keep people entertained. And I think if you can keep people entertained the whole time they're there, they're going to keep coming back and they're going to have more people come back with them. And that's my whole business goal with this new venture is to keep people entertained.
Well, this new venture is my spirit animal because I have been, Jamie, you've been at many a track with me in my day. This like Savannah banana-fication of the automotive space is going to be the best thing that's ever happened to our hobby, right? And like forever, it's just like, how can there not be anything to do while radial prep is happening? Like how? For an hour and a half, and then the first car breaks, and then it's another hour and a half. It's like, why are there not drone racing? Why is there not something going on? Like, what a huge opportunity. And you're right, now I can bring my friends who are not hardcore car people. Yeah. And we also always forget that, like, woe is us. We're in our air-conditioned trailer while this is going down. Most people are in the stands, bro. Yeah. They already ate the hot dog. It's hot and it's miserable.
It's like an hour.
When you're in those hot grandstands, because there's no shade. And it's one of those things that I feel we've all missed on for a long time. And you see it with F1. You see it starting with NASCAR right now. They are bringing in stuff that has nothing to freaking do with racing to entertain people. Because at the end of the day, spectators want to come, they want to be entertained. So that's my main goal. Entertain people. Yep.
I love it. Talk to me about there is a fine balance here, because over the years when I've gone on rants about this, I then get told by the promoter like, well, right, but we're taking care of the racers. We care about the racers, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I get that, but the racers can't race if there aren't fans, because eventually the series goes away and then the track closes and the whole thing. So like, how are you planning to balance making it great for the racers, but making it great for the fans at the same time?
I mean, basically keep the same formula we've always had with the racers. We've always had a great relationship with the racers. I'm one myself. You know, our relationship is we give them a world-class surface to race on, great payouts, well-organized schedule, and, you know, friendly staff. And I think that's the main thing, friendly staff being a major one, because I don't know about you, but have you ever been cussed out or anything by a track staff member for absolutely doing nothing wrong? Because I have.
We all have been, right?
We have been, and I swore off one of the larger ones for years, because every single time I went, as a sponsor, as a media, as from the biggest OEs on the planet, they acted as if I was the biggest annoyance in the world to them, and that everyone there actively hated talking to anyone who was attending their event. And it's like, this is absolutely insane. Your whole business relies on you being nice to the people that come to your events.
Right.
Another thing from a racer standpoint is you guys have been at events and raced. Say you're back there in the pits, you're racing with you and your buddy, you didn't bring food. What do you hate doing at a racetrack when you're racing? Waiting in line to get food? Yeah, so we're going to come up with a system to where racers have a card and that gets them to a fast racer line for food, drinks, ice. Because to me, that's a big deal. I would hate when I'm at the track and I had to go buy a bag of ice and I'm just sitting there just waiting in line for 20 minutes to get one bag of ice. So we're going to have someone on a cart rolling around in the pits with an ice thing on the back of a golf cart selling bags of ice to racers. Little stuff like that goes a long ways. And then, you know, at like Boost and Barbecue, Saturday night, the racing's done at 6:30. Like, done. After that, pull the car over by your trailer, go park it somewhere, come enjoy a concert. Hang out with your friends, hang out with your family that you've been with all weekend, cussing at, everything else. And now you guys can have fun. Drink a beer.
I'm taking away how close you are to the customer. And I'm thinking about spending years as an open book on the social media channels. And you have gotten probably very direct feedback from unhappy customers over the year. And I can see that you have refined your game. You think customer first, even without saying it. You're talking about little things, but they add up to an amazing customer experience. Can you talk about philosophies or anything there? Or is that just something you've evolved into?
It's just something we've evolved into. And of course, you know, I mean, we've done, you know, I've done over probably 200 events and all over the country. It's not just one track, one demographic, it's everybody. And, you know, everyone on social media likes to talk, you know, likes to express their frustrations with things. And I read them. I don't respond to them, but I read them and I put them up here and I save them for later. But honestly, the biggest thing that I see, the corrections that I'm making, is stuff that I've experienced myself racing, stuff that I've experienced myself as a spectator. You're not going to learn that stuff from listening to the Karens online. You're going to learn that stuff from doing it yourself. And to me, that's where a lot of people miss promoters and all that stuff is they're not a racer. A lot of promoters don't race. A lot of promoters don't go to races and spectate. So they never know. All they are is listening to all the complainers online that would probably complain if it was great. So that's the stuff that I saw. And, you know, obviously feedback from close friends and stuff help out too that aren't even into cars. Because those are the people that, spectator-wise, is the ones you got to really kind of cater to. Because if those weren't my friends that I heard that feedback from, they probably wouldn't be back at one of my events ever again because they didn't see a race for 2 hours or, you know, whatever the case may be. But yeah, it's just something that you kind of just have to be authentic with yourself and know what stuff needs to be changed. And those are the biggest changes that make the biggest impact, is if you're a racer and you notice that stuff, that other racer next to you probably notices it too. So
Boost and barbecue. I think we're going to have to put this on our calendar for next year.
We're going. Oh, yeah, I'm hyped on this entire idea. Give me some tips for the speed shop owner. You've probably been to a million shops. You've probably been to a million dyno days. Like someone who's listening to this and is like, okay, well, I'm not going to put on an event like that. But man, maybe I should have a dyno day at my shop. Maybe I should have a customer appreciation day. Give me some tips for them just to make that the best event that they can have.
So anytime that you can get people to your shop, whether it be customers or anyone in the area, it builds hype around your business. We always do a pre-party at my shop before like a street car takeover event. Now we're doing one for Boost and Barbecue. And I mean, our last one, we probably had 800 to 1,000 people there. And guess what? It cost us $0 other than, you know, getting our guys some dinner, you know, whatnot. But that's the best advertising you can get. And just make sure your shop looks good. Don't have people over at a disgusting shop. And then that guy that has never, you know, maybe heard of you, or maybe, I don't know, they're kind of newer, or, you know, whatever the case may be, they'll walk in your shop and be like, damn, this place is legit. Like, look at that car up there on the lift. And they can see, you know, your tech's tools, and they can see just how everything operates. I think once people realize how something is ran and how nice it is in person, that changes their whole perspective. So, you know, for instance, we had a guy this last May come out to our shop. He just moved here from Kentucky, and he had a Mustang, and he basically just knew about Street Car Takeover, and he came out to the pre-meet, had no idea that I was part of Street Car Takeover, just thought it was a shop that Street Car Takeover chose and all that stuff. So, you know, this guy was in the shop, and I seen him over there. I mean, he's just staring at this Mustang that we had in the shop for like an hour. And I'm like, I don't deal with the Mustang customer. So I went over to this guy. I was like, hey, is this your car? And he goes, oh, no. I'm admiring it. He goes, you guys did a really good job on this thing. And I'm like, oh, thanks, man. And he's like, yeah, I just moved here. And he's like, honestly, like, I've always done work myself on my car. And I was like, oh yeah. I was like, I did that for years in my garage. Save a lot of money that way. He's like, yeah, but he's like, I don't want to jack with it no more. And he goes, after seeing this, he goes, you guys do, you know, looks like you do really quality work here. The shop's clean. Everything looks nice. And he goes, you guys have a card? And I gave him Curtis's card because he does all the Ford stuff. And Curtis said that guy had called him at 8 a.m. on the dot that Monday morning next week. And his car is actually in the shop right now getting built. So little stuff like that. I mean, just that one night meet, we had one car build that was probably 25 grand just off that one meet.
I love the theme here. It's like one idle clip, 6 Escalade builds, one 90s truck, $2 million worth of 90 truck. You know, it's like every little thing makes a difference, man. It can be one post. It can be one thing that you just like, I'm not going to deal with it. Man, that's money, that's customers, that's relationships, that's brand building, right?
Yep, exactly. And you know, once your name is established in the car community, I mean, as you know, those guys they all talk. You know, you got all the groups and everything, and you know, you start getting a name and start posting online, and people familiarize yourself with your brand, and before you know it, people are like, hey, where do I get my cam installed at? Well, Killer Performance, because that's what people are familiar with because they see you online or come to your shop for a pre-party or anything like that. And that's advertising you can't buy. That's something that you have to earn.
Mm-hmm.
I think, incredible advice, incredible sharing. We're grateful that you flew into people. I want people to understand you flew into Detroit today. You let me drive you. Well, you drove me here in a Fox truck,
Which was sweet, by the way.
and we got to sit down. You know, this is what this is about. We wanted to share your success to inspire folks that are out there that are doing the same thing or have a vision of building an empire like you have. But my takeaway is you're super young. You're already, you're an icon in the automotive aftermarket space, multiple sources of revenue, and you've got maybe your biggest adventure ahead of you. People have, certainly at this point in this podcast, they've already tried to find you online, but can you talk about where's the best place to hang out with Justin Keith if they want more of you?
I mean, my Facebook, Justin Keith, I have a public profile. I post a lot of just random stuff on there, cool stuff. I have a business page called Stain Killer Productions, which is also my YouTube channel. And the Stain Killer thing comes from my screen name back in LS1 Tech days. I've had that screen name since probably like 2001, 2002. So that's where that all came from. And then my Instagram is Justin Keith _KP on Instagram. And I have a TikTok too, Keith Allen, which I actually got that name from Cletus. We went to Daytona 500 back in like 2018. In my hot pass, my middle name's Allen, so I'm Justin Allen Keith. Well, they had my name as Keith Allen. And Garrett and Cooper thought that was the funniest thing ever because I love doing karaoke. And Garrett's like, that sounds like your country music name, Keith Allen. So that's where that name came from. That's my TikTok name.
I love it. Last question from me. What's your advice to the next Justin Keith, the young kid who's listening to this, who's like, man, I want to be like those guys? What would you tell them?
Never let anyone tell you that that's not gonna work, because I've been told that a lot in my life, especially in the last like month.